I think it comes down to you have to see what you value and prioritize the most important things. I think a lot of people get caught up in trying to do too much. And it happens to me too. I'm not perfect by any means. Like even last week, I was like, you know what? I did not complete like certain things that I was trying to get done every single day. So I was like, let me revamp and see what it really is the most important, because I'm doing stuff that's not as important. But if you prioritize the most important thing, and I always say it's 3 or 5 things a day. If you can complete 3 to 5 core things per day that will move the needle in different areas of your life, you'll be able to make it, right? So for me, those things are going to be, I always get my training session in for the training day, right? I'm always going to make sure I eat my meals. And then along with that is make sure I get back to every single client because they're investing in me. So I have to make sure that I get back to them in a timely fashion, give them everything that they're supposed to, make sure I program for all my athletes, and then something for my spiritual life, right? So if I can complete those things, I know that my athletes taken care of. As a coach, I'm practicing what I preach. As someone who's a Christian, I make sure I put the effort in. And so if that's all I got done that day, I know I moved the needle in the right direction.
Great title for a podcast, Blessings.
Thank you. Yes, I love it.
What a great meditation.
We are here to learn in the sphere of life.
I'm all about believe. You're about spreading blessings. It's great.
What about your blessings? What's the biggest blessing of life?
What a great question.
Because it's the Blessings podcast, I have to ask you, what is your biggest lesson in life?
My biggest lesson in life.
A whole lot of conversations with people about life and how those things manifest as blessings and lessons, and sometimes both.
It's my connection.
You're going to get schooled.
The journey is the journey.
What you and me are searching for are the blessings in this life.
Remember the reality of how sweet people are.
Spread blessings around the world.
You are the most remarkable energy. You make me pause, make me excited, make me think, and make me spontaneously come up with an answer. This is another one of those great moments in time in my life. Thank you for reaching out to ask if I would do the show.
Welcome back to Blessings, my friends. Today, I have a ray of pure sunshine with me. She is a female powerlifter on a mission to inspire others to use their passions in life to inform the way that they live and thrive and make money. At 21, she won a world championship in powerlifting, and it transformed her mentality around how confidence and strength from the outside can alchemize a person within, and how that translates to becoming the best version of yourself. She is obsessed with helping others to use the tools that she knows we all have to create lives of abundance, joy, and inner power. Her smile and her uplifting tone of voice are captivating, and that's what got me to invite her to come on the show. And she is the kind of person that you just feel good being around. Welcome, Solana Lewis, to the show.
Did you know my name meant sunshine?
Yeah, I know, like sol in Spanish, Espanol would be sun, but I didn't really put it together. No. Oh my God, that's so funny.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. That was an awesome intro.
I love when synchronicities like that happen. That means something cool. All right. I'm really excited to dig into this because I know people who do powerlifting. My daughter did it for a little while, and she changed her entire kind of workout routine, and now she's a runner. So she's totally different body type, totally different. She just completely transformed. But when she was into that, it was really exciting for her and to watch her confidence grow as a result of that. And I think that we all have things to overcome, whether it's a physical hardship or a mental block or a limiting belief. And there are things we can tap into to help ourselves through those obstacles in life. So can you just talk a little bit about that whole concept of finding your thing, and how did you find your thing to be powerlifting?
Yeah. When you're talking about your daughter being more confident, I love hearing that because powerlifting became the thing that started my confidence in every area of my life. So I found powerlifting at 18. When I was 18, I was a sophomore in college already. And I barely passed high school and middle school. Like, I nearly fell out of both. And it wasn't like a lack of effort. It was like me trying. I got diagnosed with ADHD. I didn't really understand how to learn with my the way my brain works. And so I struggled heavily, and all I loved was sports, but I never actually lifted weights. I just did track and field, like swimming, soccer, volleyball, basketball, like you name it, I tried it. And then went to college, and I was trying to go on a scholarship for track, and it fell through. So when I got to school, I literally was like, I don't know what to do because I don't like school. I'm here because my mom told me to go to school. And I was like, all I love is sports and I don't have a sports team. So I went online, found people who just worked out, like women who like had nice body types. I was like, what's like, how do you look like that? And they were like, lift weights. And so at 18, kind of 28, 10 years ago, like women lifting weights was not popular. So like I went down a rabbit hole of looking at bodybuilders and I just got in the gym. And then a year later, my friend was like, you should try powerlifting. I watched him compete. And I was like, when I watched him compete, like it changed everything for me because women were competing at the same meet because my friend was a dude. And I saw like how happy they looked and how they were cheering each other on and like how strong they were. And I was like, this is fascinating. And then I just started 2 weeks later, I got like a personal trainer and I couldn't even afford the trainer, Mitzi. So the way I got this trainer, he was a super nice guy. He saw me at the gym all the time too. And I talked to him because I knew he powerlifted and he learned that I work at a shoe store. So I worked at a little shoe store that was like for running shoes and they had apparel. And he was like, if you buy me like shoes every month, and I got a really deep discount on them. Yep. With your discount, I'll train you. He trained me like 3 times a week for the price of $50 of sneakers, which was ridiculous. And I did my first meet like 3 months later. I went to meet, I saw women competing, and I was like, I have to try this because it looks so cool. And I won, and I broke like records in the meet. I didn't know anything about that. I just enjoyed it. And I just never stopped. I just never stopped from that day. That was 10 years ago. I just competed for 2 or 3 times a year, every year since then.
Whenever I watch powerlifting on television, and I've been watching it for a long time, like when I was a little girl, we would watch those weightlifting competitions in the Olympics. And my dad and my grandfather would watch ABC Sports. Like every weekend, that's what you watched. You would watch the sports, the wide world of sports. And then they had the Disney shows. And it was this whole routine my family had. And we weren't really an athletic family, but my family just loved watching sports. And I can remember those weightlifters and thinking to myself, like, how much human beings are capable of. These people don't look that powerful, but they can lift these tremendous amounts of weight, way more than their body in some cases. And it's such a great metaphor for the idea that we are capable of so much more than we give ourselves credit for.
It really is, because when it comes to being more confident and like seeing like the crazy weights lifted, when you start to actually start, especially when you have never lifted before and it's not really your thing yet, and you just start to see the progress. And powerlifting is like a linear sport. Like you literally get to just increase in weight when you first start. Like anybody who starts powerlifting, the numbers start to come really quickly. It's called newbie gains, where if you've never lifted before, like you're gonna get stronger no matter what. Like even if you're on like the world's not like worst program, you'll probably start to see the weight on the bar. So it's so much fun because you get to just see the numbers improve and go up, which is what makes it so different from other sports where like, let's say bodybuilding, it's all about how you look, right? So you have to work really hard. You're like, okay, do I see like more definition? And it's like very different. But for lifting, you can just put all your energy into the weight on the bar. And it's so much fun. As you start to improve, you start hitting numbers that you never thought you hit. And that's what makes it makes me, and I feel like my athletes, start to believe in themselves more, because you start to say, oh, I can do things that I never thought I could. And then you take that mentality, you can put it in different parts of your life. Like, I feel like for me, it helped me. It's the reason I passed school. I found out as a sophomore, and even in college, I was still struggling, and I had like tutors and everything, but I kept getting more confident. I was like, I can do hard things in the gym. I'm doing stuff hard over here. I'm working at a job while being a full-time student, and I'm able to show up to work on time and get paid. So why can't I like push myself in these classes? So it just helped me in every area.
It does. It translates to other areas of your life when you can do that. And I don't power lift, but I, as a person in her 50s, have been focused more heavily on lifting weights because there's so much health information now about the importance of lifting weights. And even if you're not lifting heavy weights, you can lift lighter weights. But that, starting that earlier in your life too, the way that you have, it's only going to translate to making you healthier later on. So it's like a whole mind-body thing, bringing weights. And then I think there's something to also the metaphor of we think about hardships and stresses as weights on us. So when you get into the habit of physically lifting weights, you are telling yourself, I can handle the weight on me. Like metaphorically, I can handle that weight. I know that I can lift it. I know that I can put it down when I need to. So it's like all this, it's very, to me, a metaphorical mind, body, spirit activity, the whole weightlifting. Did you feel like it translated, besides your mindset and helping you academically, did it translate to other areas of your life, like relationships or spiritual development?
It did with relationships, because another thing about me is I grew up in Virginia and I was homeschooled for like a decent amount of time. And even though the homeschool was technically like our friend's home, so we had a few people in the home, I felt like I was so used to just talking to those few people that when I moved to New Jersey and was put in a bigger school, and also that school was like predominantly Caucasian, so I was like one of the 5 like African American kids, like I struggled to talk to people. I didn't know how to handle being in a big crowd of people. I was the quiet one, like horrible acne, hated my teeth, like all this stuff. But that's middle school and high school. But
Every teenage thing.
I know, right? And I feel like even when I went into college, I still had just like low self-esteem. Like I struggled to make friends. And then when it came to lifting and just seeing like the improvements I can make and starting to get the confidence, I felt like I started to become more confident as a person. I was like, if I can see improvements and be so happy in this area of my life, then I can work hard in relationships and find friends who are really meant for me. And so that really helped me with relationships 100%. I cannot tell you if it helped. I feel like I had a whole spiritual journey like after college more so than during, to be honest.
Okay.
But I can say that today, I feel like I compare a lot of things in life to getting stronger in the gym. So just like I'm consistent with the gym 4 times a week and never miss a session, I'm consistent now with reading my Bible every single morning, because I know that consistency brings results every single time I'm consistent, right? If I can lift weights in the gym and become a world champion in the sport, or if I can get my client to become much stronger and be able to run around with her grandkids now because she feels amazing and she was not lifting weights before, then I can use that same consistency into something such as like posting on social media every day to get in more clientele and work my business. I can use the same consistency to email my list and make sure that I'm consistent with that so the business grows. So I feel like you can compare anything to lifting, because the key is being consistent and not falling off. And always remembering that if you put in 100% of your effort, that's what will come back to you. Any competition I've ever done, I go into it knowing that I gave it my all. So like no matter what happens on a day, I won't walk away saying, man, if I had just not skipped sessions and if I had just done blah, blah, blah. No, it's like I gave it my all. So whatever the result is, it was the best.
Yeah, I read that in something that you wrote online, that the idea of giving 100% is one of your core values. Yeah. How do we get to be a person who gives 100%?
I think it comes down to you have to see what you value and prioritize the most important things. I think a lot of people get caught up in trying to do too much. And I do, it happens to me too. I'm not perfect by any means. Like even last week, I was like, you know what? I did not complete like certain things that I was trying to get done every single day. So I was like, let me revamp and see what it really is the most important, because I'm doing stuff that's not as important. But if you prioritize the most important thing, and I always say it's 3 or 5 things a day. If you can complete 3 to 5 core things per day that will move the needle in different areas of your life, you'll be able to make it. Right. So for me, that those things are going to be, I always get my training session in for the training day, right? I'm always going to make sure I eat my meals. And then along with that is make sure I get back to every single client, because they're investing in me. And so I have to make sure that I get back to them in a timely fashion, give them everything they're supposed to, make sure I program for all my athletes, and then something for my spiritual life, right? So if I can complete those things, I know that my athletes taken care of. As a coach, I'm practicing what I preach. As someone who's a Christian, I'm making sure I put the effort in. And so if that's all I got done that day, I know I moved the needle in the right direction. So many people have great, like they have really good intentions, and then they just have so many things they try to get done, get nowhere, and end up frustrated and spin their wheels.
Yeah, because if you're giving 10 things, 50% of you, or I don't think the math actually adds up on that, but you know what I'm saying? If you're not giving all of yourself as you complete things throughout the day, throughout the week, then it's going to start to show, because you're never fully into everything. It's like being, excuse me, but half-assed, like at that stuff that you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you want the universe to give you back 100% of its value, then you have to give 100% of yourself. It's like an exchange of energy.
And I believe in karma so much. Like, you can call it karma, you can call it the universe, you can call it the golden rules in the Bible, do unto others you haven't done to you. Whatever energy you put in, you really do get back.
That's
because as one thing I learned from the event, because we met at A to B Con, and I love listening to Tony Peck. He's one of my favorite people in the world to listen to. And he just talks so much about make sure you're trying to figure out how you can serve others. That's what his whole business is built on. How can I help others? And it always came back to being, they all realized that they were helped by him. And then they came back, turned around and helped him out. And now he's got a full business all about networking and getting people together, making multiple six figures, just connecting people, right? And the same idea can be brought anywhere. Like, how can I help my athletes? How can I help other people? And I know I can't help other people if I don't take care of myself. Like, if I don't work out and eat well, I can't help you because I feel like garbage and now I'm in a bad mood and now I'm nasty, right? So like, it all comes back around full circle. But whenever in my life, when I look back, I'm like, I really don't like how I treated this person, or how I didn't get my work done. That was like my core things for the week done. It always turns around and bites me in the butt in a negative way too.
Exactly. It does always come back, and it doesn't always come from the place that you're expecting, but whatever you give out is what you're going to get back. And that is so true. I'm interested in the technical aspects of powerlifting. When you are lifting a weight, are you just picking it up and lifting it? You're just straightening your legs, right? You're not actually pushing it up over your head, are you?
This is a great question. Let me clarify for everyone listening. Powerlifting is the barbell squat, the barbell bench press, and the barbell deadlift. And it's a maximal sport. So you lift as heavy as you can for 1 rep. So if you go into a competition, you'll see that you get 3 attempts for the squat, bench, and deadlift. Whatever is the heaviest lift you completed, they get added up. So let's say you did your heaviest with a 100-pound squat, 100-pound bench, 100-pound deadlift. Your total is now 300 pounds. If you got the highest total in your weight class, you win. Okay, so that's like the easy way of explaining powerlifting.
Okay.
So when it comes to, it never goes over your head. We never do the Olympic lifts.
No, that's not the guy snapping it, and he's this giant make it guy, and he puts
we don't do the
head, and he looks like he's gonna die, and the bar is bent over, and
not quite. But there is still a lot of technique to it, especially the longer you do it, the more you have to like hone in your technique for your body type. So example, for the barbell squat, where the bar is positioned on your back matters a lot. How you actually hold your rib cage matters a lot. A lot of people do, it's called like the stripper booty, like where they like really stick out their butt on the way down. You've probably seen that before.
I've seen
like
that,
they arch their back. Not ideal, but most new lifters who come to me are doing it, right? So you gotta teach them how to stay in a more neutral position while having hundreds of pounds on their back, which is hard to do, but you have to teach them how to do it.
Couldn't you really hurt your spine?
If you can hurt your back doing anything wrong. Anything. Like, to be honest, most of my athletes hurt themselves outside the gym. Like, they get sick. Like, whenever it's a bad injury, it's like I was picking up a bottle of something. I was picking up a case of Coca-Cola. I'm like, I hate you.
That's a really good point. So how should people physically pick things up? Like, using weightlifting as like a basis. What is the best way to pick things up? Like in your home, or even picking up your child or something.
Similar to a deadlift, right? Or a squat. Like, literally, you want to bend your knees and you want to actually get low without just rounding your back. Your back should probably be close to neutral. Now you're human. So if you bend your spine, if you flex and extend, it's not bad. Okay. Like, your spine is meant to flex and extend. But keeping close to a neutral spine, make sure you're using your legs. And then when you pick them up, like, you should definitely be feeling it in your legs and not your back. If you feel your legs, yay. If you feel your back, you need to fix your back positioning and make sure you're bending your knees enough. Make sure you're bending the hips enough.
And that's why people get hurt, because they don't keep their leg strength up. And then they get to the point where they're just using their back. And then that's how they get hurt.
Yep. Lack of leg strength and just not understanding how to, like, literally bend your knees to get in the position.
Yeah. Like the physics of actually how you move your body so that you can keep it optimized.
Yeah.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for explaining that.
Another thing I wanted to say real quick, you asked about technicalities. Have you seen a powerlifting bench press?
Say that again.
Have you seen a powerlifting bench press?
Powerlifting bench press. No, I have never seen
Okay.
it.
So we get made fun
Well,
of.
maybe I have, but I don't know what it is. So explain what it is, and then I'll be more
We get
intelligent.
made fun of a lot because we have the bench press with the big arch. Like
Oh,
with the rainbow can fit
so
on.
you'll be on your back on the bench.
We're like on our shoulders and butt, and our back's not touching the bench because it's arched.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to bring that up because a lot of people crap on us for having that positioning. And I did personal training without powerlifting coaching for a long time. I never taught my personal training clients that were not competing to do it that way. However, I will say if you are able to squeeze your shoulders together a little bit and to actually get leverage by having your shoulders really tight on the bench, you're going to be able to protect your shoulders more and actually get more out of your chest when you're bench pressing. So a lot of people
then you're using your chest. That's your main muscle group that you're using.
Yes, you want to use your chest when you're benching. So I will just being on your shoulders and having an arch is not bad, but you don't have to arch as much as we do when you're benching.
Okay, I'm gonna have to watch
put a
this
picture of an arched person benching. I'll send you one. Pop it in the video.
I'll pop it in there somewhere.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. All right. We have to talk about that. That's so interesting. It's a really cool sport. It's a really interesting sport. And I just think also the idea of the focus on females of power. Women have tremendous power. And to be able to actually show that physically is, I think, something that's just, it provides inspiration and motivation for other women. Even if you're not going to go out there and do it, it just demonstrates that as a group of humans, we really have a lot more power than we often give ourselves credit for.
How would you like to get the best text of your life? This is your sign that it's time to add something powerful to your morning routine that sets you up for success and reminds you that you are worthy and makes you unstoppable. It's a motivational text message from me, a real human. I am Mitzi Campbell, a mindset specialist, and I know that it is possible for you to live the life of your dreams. My morning motivational text messages help you up-level your mindset, your happiness, and your success. Sign up for a 2-week free trial at yourpositivemoment.com and change your life today. Join the movement so we can all thrive together. yourpositivemoment.com.
So when you're in this position of role model and leader as a powerlifter, what kinds of things do you see women needing in terms of lack of confidence or lack of self-belief? What do you see most that women need to work on in that area?
In the gym or outside the gym?
But I would say outside the gym.
Okay. I would say it all stems down to not believing you can do hard things. Like a lot of people minimize what they can do, or you've probably heard people say like people overestimate what they can do in a day but underestimate what they can do in a year. It's like that, where I see people who have like goals and then I see them like really quickly not achieving it, but like giving up on it because they didn't actually structure out a plan to get to the goal. They may have had a plan for the next couple of days and tried to get a week's worth of stuff done in 2 days, but they didn't have a real plan. And so comparing it to powerlifting, right? An example, I have 4 athletes competing in regionals. It's in September of this year. A lot of those athletes competed last weekend at a meet called states, right? Because from states to regionals is what a lot of athletes do. So that's what we're in April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 5 months away. And I already have the plan for the 5 months, right? Like I have the plan already set. And I give them like a month at a time what they're going to do. So they're not overwhelmed. But the same thing contributes to just women who are in the gym or like my athletes who I can tell lack confidence. They will have goals, but they can't imagine themselves getting there, but they don't have a plan to get there, right? So I think that's what it is. You can chunk it down and give yourself like the 3 to 5 things to accomplish each day, which builds into you getting towards that goal. It changes everything. It changes literally everything. I can even say
Yeah.
like something completely outside of the gym, nothing to do with the gym at all. I am someone who is currently dating, right? Like I'm trying to date and get to know people, right? So I'm literally, I can't even saying this on the show. Like
She's
I'm literally hiring a coach, right? Because I want to be able to envision exactly what I want. I've actually written out the qualities I want in my future partner. And then I wrote out the qualities of what I believe I should be in order to be able to handle a partner like that. And so my plan is to every day remind myself of those qualities that I should be like for that future partner and to live that way.
Yes.
You know, there is no person that I can see right now. I don't know who they are. I can't even promise you I'll get married, but like I still have that plan.
Yeah. No, that makes total sense. You have to be able to envision the future version of you and what your entire life looks like around that version of you. And then you have to be that. You have to embody that like right now as much as you can. I think that's so true. It's really interesting. It always reminds me of this movie a long time ago. It was with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock. It was Practical Magic. They're sisters and they're like witches.
Okay.
And in the movie, the Sandra Bullock character, she ends up losing her husband, and it's very sad, but she decides she is never going to get married again because she doesn't want to hurt anyone because she's a witch and sorry. So she writes this list of things that she wants in a husband that are impossible to get, like one brown eye, one blue eye, something about makes pancakes and flips them the right way. It was a whole list of things that were just really hard to meet. And in the movie, she ends up meeting that actual person who is exactly the person that she wrote this list about that she thought could never happen. And it's, even though it's a fictional story, I think the idea of actually envisioning, actually writing it down, actually making space in your life is such a powerful thing. I know someone else who told me she manifested her husband after she left space in her bed. She left a space in her garage for someone else's car. She did all these things to make space, literal space in her life. And she ended up manifesting a partner. I don't know. It's pretty interesting, isn't it?
It's all mindset. Like she did manifest that person because she prepared for them. And then also the energy that you have will show that you're like a person who's open to having someone else in their life. Because I remember like there was a point in my life where I took a 2-year break from even going out on a single date. I was like, I'm just gonna focus on me, got my business. That's it. Like, I just gotten out of something. So I was like, I don't need to be dating right now. And when I tell you, Missy, not one man asked me out on one date in those 2 years because the energy was get away from me.
Yeah, you were putting out the energy, stay away.
I was. And the second, like when the date hit, the date was August 10th of 2023. When the date hit, that I was like, okay, I hit 2 years, started getting asked out. It was not a coincidence.
No, it's not a coincidence. It is really interesting how that works. Very cool. Now, I know that in your life, you talk about having to make the shift from athlete to coach. And I think that speaks a lot to how many of us want to take our talents and our skills, and then we want to become some sort of authority or some sort of a teacher for others. But we lack the confidence to do it. And we have to push past the imposter syndrome. How did you deal with that in your life? How did you push past and become the coach and the authority figure?
The first thing was I had to start calling myself a coach, which was the scariest thing in the world. It was because I had just won the World Championship in 2018. I remember coming home and I wanted to cry because I was like, great, I did this big thing. It's amazing, but I still have no direction for how I'm ever going to be a successful coach. I didn't know how it was going to happen. And I ended up working with a business coach soon after I decided I wanted to be coaching. And she was like, Solana, you can't be the world's best kept secret. She's like, go on your social media, because I wanted to be an online coach. I go on your social media and I have no idea you coach. So how will they come to you? So I had to start posting and saying I'm a coach and then start actually putting out my coaching ideas, right? And then I made my podcast soon after, which scared me, but it was an easy way to get out my coaching ideas and just put it out there for the world to see. And so that was the number one thing. Once I started calling myself a coach, I started believing in myself and then putting out that consistent content where it wasn't just me lifting weights, but it was me teaching. People started to see me as a coach. It took a lot of time. Okay, I started the business in 2020, it's 2025 now. And the first 3 years were like really hard. But at the same time, I'm an all or nothing person. Another thing I did, I don't think I mentioned this at the conference. So I moved out of my parents' house July 4th of 2020. That's soon after the pandemic. And when I moved out, I was making just enough money to pay rent and like feed, like put food in the fridge. That was it. Like realistically, I'm talking that's like $2,200 a month I'm making. Let's be for real. Let's add that up. We're under 30 grand a year. Okay. I was not making money. All right. I moved out because I knew, number one, I wanted a place where I could feel like I could really work and not be like around my family all the time. But also it pushed me. I was like, if I don't get clients, I will eventually be homeless. If my landlord raises the rent $100, I'm going to be on the street. I can afford. If someone needs me to go somewhere, I don't have gas put in the car. Okay. Yeah. But I'm still all or nothing. That was like, when I moved out, I was like, I have no choice. So believe me when I say I didn't miss a post, I didn't miss a podcast, I didn't miss the chance to DM every human being that commented and liked my posting that I was putting up, because I was like, I have no option. So I put myself in a position where it was like fail or succeed.
And that's what they say is something you have to do. I think the book Think and Grow Rich talks about this. You have to burn all the boats. You can't have a plan B, a lot of people will say. You have to go all in and believe that's going to be successful. And otherwise, you're going to have something to fall back on and you're not going to go all in. So I love that. And I think that shows a lot of courage on your part. A lot of people just don't have that courage. They don't have that belief in themselves.
They don't. I think it also depends where you are in life too. I think that for me, moving out and being someone like, no, I didn't have kids or anything. So I was like, I'm going to go all in on me. Then not everyone in that position where I'm going to go all in. If you have a kid, you all can't starve together. That's not cute. That's not responsible. But I think that no matter where you are in life, weigh out the pros and cons. What's going to happen if I stay comfortable living with my family because I wasn't pushing myself?
No.
What's going to happen if I don't do the big risk?
Yeah. It helps sometimes to go through the worst case scenario. What's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, I'm by myself. I can get kicked out of my apartment. I might have to go back and live with my family again. That's the worst thing that can happen. But the best thing that can happen is that I make it on my own. And then I learn how to do it. And then I continue doing it. And then I get better at doing it. And then before you know it, I'm not only paying my rent and my groceries, but I'm also putting some money away every month. And then it just continues to grow from there. It's like a snowball effect, right?
It's a snowball effect. And when you turn around and see the progress made, none of it was a coincidence. If you go all in on yourself, you will be successful. I really see it happen every time. It doesn't mean it's going to happen maybe the first time, right? There was a lot of downs. There were a lot of downs during that. But I'm just so thankful that I didn't stop betting on me, because I realized that everyone gets one life. I really don't want to get to however old I'll be when I die and be like, I wish I had tried some stuff. And one big thing too, which I spoke about at a keynote I did months ago. And so I love my parents, right? My dad, rest in peace, he was a great man. He worked a job as a social worker. And I remember I would talk to him about his job and like, he didn't enjoy it. Like he really didn't, like he loved kids, but like where he was working, it wasn't great. Because if you don't know, when you're a social worker, like the government really does protect the kids, meaning they can do whatever they want, act however they want, and you can't touch them or do anything, or you get fired, right? So like the kids act up, right? So long story made very short, he ends up getting let go from his job because one kid went to attack him. And mind you, my dad been hospitalized multiple times from these kids. One kid went to attack him. And so to protect himself, he held the kid down, but it was technically an illegal hold. He held him down stomach first. The kid was fine. He wasn't he was completely fine. But because he was held down stomach first, he was let go very close to when he was going to retire. And I watched him become very like borderline depressed after that. And it taught me something big. He worked that job because he was like, I need to keep a roof over our head. It's a safe job. And for years I was like, but Dad, like you don't like it. He's like, but it's a safe job. So there's no such thing as a safe job. Yeah. It doesn't exist. So I could have just stayed a personal trainer at Equinox, even though I didn't enjoy it. I could have or done something else. I know my parents want me to become a physical therapist. Like physical therapists make money, but like, I didn't love physical therapy. I was like, I could do that and just get a secure quote job or I can go all in on me. And worst case scenario for me was I will live with my mom till the day I die at 70. I don't know.
Oh, hopefully beyond that.
Right? I don't even know. But you have to go, like, you have one life. Don't spend it being safe with the plan B, plan C.
Yeah, I agree. So many people get to that point in their lives when they realize, because you will, when you are older, and a lot of people who are listening are already in this place, when you get to be in midlife, this is the time when you do look back at your life. It happens to everyone. You look back at your life and you evaluate, and a lot of people decide they want to go in a different direction. And it's a crossroads. And it's really admirable that your dad stayed and pushed through that, even though it wasn't his thing, just for his family. That's really, there's something so beautiful in that. But the toll that it takes on your individual heart when you're doing something like that, that's a decision you have to make. Do you want to sacrifice your own soul, your own like heart? And if you go into it early, knowing that's your choice you're making to follow your own heart, I think that helps you later on in life. Where do you see yourself later in the next, let's say 10 years in the future? Where do you see yourself?
10 years in the future. So definitely still coaching, because I love coaching. At that point, I would have loved to take in an athlete to the World Championships. I've taken athletes to nationals. I've taken them to the North American Championships, which is like right underneath the World Championships. But I would love to take someone to the World Championships. Actually, by then, 10 years, multiple people. Multiple people.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So they'll follow in your footsteps.
That's 100% the goal. Along with that, another thing I do is I work in New York City schools. I teach kids how to podcast in multiple schools instead of contracts. So in 10 years, I want to also have another program in school. I'm working right now to figure out what it's going to be. But the podcast club is my business partner's club. So I want to be teaching kids probably something lifting and nutrition related, but I have to figure out what the program's going to be. Yeah, I want to be able to teach kids early on, like how to be healthy, how important it is to be strong, get those habits in young, and they can do it forever. Much easier to teach kids than it is to teach adults how to change their habits. So that's a big goal I have with Kids Not in the City. And besides that, outside of working 10 years, I have a lot of love to give. I've definitely learned about myself more recently. Like when I love someone, like I really want to take care of them, and then they pour into me. So I'll let's be in a relationship, not be cute or whatever.
That would be amazing. Yes. In 10 years, I think that'll be a pretty doable goal.
Probably. But,
especially now that you put yourself out there. And you brought something up that's really interesting when you talked about working with schools. And the idea that when you went in and decided to be a coach, that you had to start calling yourself a coach. Now, we all get caught up in this kind of false belief that we have to somehow get the right degree, get the right certificate, go pay our dues, wait in line, and push things off until we feel like we have the right, quote, training, or it's the right time before we jump into something. And I think that one thing that's really interesting about these times that we live in now is that you don't need a degree necessarily, unless you want to be something that requires that, like a doctor or a lawyer or something. But you don't need the certificate to call yourself a coach. You don't need to wait and do the pay your dues thing. You can actually just jump right in there and start coaching people when you have the experience and the expertise to do that. So how can we help young people moving forward in their lives to understand that there are different ways of being successful that maybe aren't the traditional route?
Yeah. So I think no matter what you want to do, understanding networking early is huge, because it's transformed my entire life. And it's transformed my life literally in the last, well, more than the last year and a half, but more distinctively in the last year and a half, I go to networking events. If you start talking to more and more people and helping them out however you can, it will turn around and help you. But people will give you different ideas. I would not be podcasting in schools if I didn't go to that Tony Peck networking event, meet Brandon, then he invited me to speaker school, went there, met Carl, like it's the whole thing, right? And all these networking events I've gone to, I meet people who have amazing ideas, and then we either work together in some capacity or we just keep in touch and we help each other out. So networking is huge. But once you have an idea of what you want to do, I say it's kind of corny, but figure out how you can follow your passion, right? Like I fell in love with powerlifting, and I actually don't need a degree for anything I do. I have a degree in exercise science, but I don't need a degree in order to be a powerlifting coach. I don't need a degree to work in schools for as a vendor. I don't. But you have to know how to do that though. But that's the part of connection too. So once you have an idea of what you want to do, look at all the routes to get there. Because some of them you said, yes, will require school. And if that's the route, then you got to take the route. But if it doesn't, then try to be creative and figure out how else you could get there. Because school takes a lot of money. And a lot of times you spend a lot of money just to turn around and get a career that will take you a long time to pay off the money that you have to spend. So if there's a way to get experience right away, go for getting the experience versus sitting down in the classroom. Getting my degree in exercise science, I'm happy I did it because it gave me confidence because I was so bad at school before that I was like, yo, I'm smart enough to get a degree. That helped my confidence. But the reality is, like, the classes I took, not much of them transfer into me being a coach.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. The idea that you can get addicted to going to school and to going to taking courses and reading books and watching videos, and you never actually do it. Like that is a form of procrastination. And it's a form of fear. So do you remember the first time that you actually got a coaching client and how that felt?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell that story?
Yeah. Her name was Sephora.
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 Like the store?
Yes, like the store. Spelled the same way. And I think this was, so technically it was before COVID. I started like barely did a little bit of coaching right before COVID. So let's say 2019. I was trying to just use whoever already knew me. So I went to a gym and she was at that gym. And my goal was like, other than training myself, was to get to know everyone at the gym. And she had a coach already. And I saw that she kept like getting hurt. And I was like, you keep getting hurt. Let me know if you ever need anything. And I just kept building relationships with everyone there. I would go and just give people advice if they wanted it, because you don't want to be an annoying person who's like giving advice and the person to leave me alone. But if I saw someone struggling, and since we already had a rapport, I would say hi to everybody. I started helping her out a little bit. And then one day she hit me up like, hey, do you offer coaching? And I did it for $50 a month, like super low cost because I was new. And it was the best experience because I helped her. I didn't know as much as I know now by any means, that I just started doing it. And I reached out to other people who did a little bit of coaching. And I was like, hey, do you think I'm doing this right? How does this look to you? Like, so I started getting advice from people because people will actually help you if you ask them. If you're nice and you build rapport with people, like they tend to actually want to help you out. So I think I worked with Sephora for 2 years. I loved it because she was local. I was at every meet with her. I watched her progress. Looking back now, my programming at that time, today, makes me want to throw up my mouth. I'm like, it's been years now. So I look back like, yeah, I could have made some changes. But at the end of the day, like, I wasn't the most experienced coach by any means, but I still got her better results than she was getting. Right. And that's the thing. People get so nervous. Oh, how am I ever going to do this? Because these people are so great and I can't do it. And it's, no, you can. But you have to start small. Start with people who you already know. That's your warm leads. People who already know. You can start off by offering a much lower price. And you're both understanding that I'm new. Like, you knew I was new to it. That was very obvious, right? So as long as you're doing your best, giving it all your energy, you're going to get them better results than what they were getting. And that's okay. But yeah, Sephora, I'll never forget her. She was dope.
Oh, that's beautiful. Somebody has to give you your first chance. There's always going to be a first client. There's going to be a first for everything. And those people, I think, hold a really special place in your life. You'll never forget her.
I never will. Every once in a while, I see her. It's very rare. I'll see her at a meet, sharing something. I'm like, oh my God, hey, girl. It was good times. But that's the one thing that I want people to remember. If you're trying to get started with anything, start out by helping someone who already knows you in real life. Because they're more likely to say yes. That's your warm lead. Going online can be tougher. You're talking to strangers. But if someone's like at your gym, like just get to know everyone at your gym, eventually somebody will be like, I'll invest in you.
Yeah. And getting to know people, the networking is also a really good tool to use. So you never know who is going to lead you to what your next big thing is in life. Like I think of it this way. They talk about the 6 degrees of separation. I think that you're really never more than 2 or 3 people away from something big. And you just don't know what that is.
It's so true. And I think one thing I've had to learn, because I used to be, I don't want to say antisocial, but it's hard though. Like when you're an athlete and you're serious, like you go in the gym, put your earphones in, and you look down at the floor. Like that's how I am. And I still can be that way sometimes. But I've learned that you can network anywhere. Yes, now in my head, networking is, I literally invest to go to events. But before that, it was me just talking to everybody at my gym. So you can start small, talk to everyone who's around you and go into places that like has what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to be a coach, so I'm always in the gym. I was at every competition that was local. I was volunteering. I was there for hours for free, helping people for free for hours. And then a lot of those people who I helped for free asked me for coaching, but it was like a year or two later. People don't forget you. If you really help them or are nice to them, people don't forget you.
That's right. And you should go into it with the energy of how can I give something here rather than going in with the energy, because we all go to these networking events where you meet people and you can just feel like they're sucking the life out of you. Like they're just trying to take something from you instead of just talking and saying, hey, who are you? This is who I am. And isn't this fun that we're doing this? And maybe someday I can help you with something.
Exactly. And Brandon talked about that too. He always says this. He was like in 2024 or 2023, he felt like he was getting around too many takers.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I'm around so many takers. I want to be around people who want to give. But what he did was did something himself. He didn't say, oh, so you guys suck. He literally decided to write thank you cards, one per day, and send out 365 thank you cards in the year 2024. And what he got from that was huge. And so doing something small where it's like, hey, if you feel like you're around a lot of takers, you still might have to make a change yourself to get around more givers.
That's true. And it is a good practice to ask yourself, if I'm in the room and this is what my perception is, that I'm around all these takers, what is it about me that's attracting that energy? And how can I shift that? Taking that responsibility, like you mentioned, going all in and being 100% in. I think part of that is taking 100% responsibility for the outcomes in your life and your experiences that you're having. You're always responsible. You're not always in control of what happens in your life, but you are always responsible for your response. So that's true. Oh my goodness.
I've even learned, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I even learned like something small because I have some things under the wraps that I'm working on. And I started thinking to myself, I want these things to be successful for me. And that's great. But I was like, it's going to come a point where I'm going to need people to help me with this. And I think that if I reach out to all these people to help me, that I haven't spoken to forever and never even to ask how they're doing, that's not going to go great. So I have a goal now, and I'm not going to pretend I'm not Brandon. I should probably do the one thank you card per day. But I'm like, let me just text like 3 people per week, people who I don't talk to or see often, and just say, hey, how are you? And then mention how much I appreciate them and not ask for anything else. Just reach out. And I think that's big because people are like, oh, thank you. Because sometimes they respond, they're like, yeah, what's up? Like they want to know what you want.
Yes.
I'm like, no, I
Everyone's
genuinely
suspicious.
just ask how you're doing. And then you leave it alone. And they're like, oh, she really asked how I'm doing. And I'm not just doing that because I'm like, I need something later on. I said, no, I really want to care about people.
Yeah.
I want people to do that to me. I want people to ask me how I'm doing for no good reason. So
it's such a beautiful thing. This happened to me just the other day. I got a card in the mail, a handwritten card from a friend that I don't talk to that much. We're always friends, but it's the kind of friend that you don't have to talk to them every day. And just when you see them, it's just this beautiful exchange and you love them, but you may not see them all the time. She sent me a card out of the blue that was it actually brought me to tears. It was so nice because when you are a giving, kind-hearted person, a lot of times you're the one always doing that. You're the one always being the person who keeps in touch or saying the nice things or reinforcing or empowering or whatever. And it's really nice to feel how it feels from the other side. So that just makes me want to even do it more. but the power of a handwritten note is crazy.
Because no one does it. So things like that, people just remember even better.
That's right. I know. Yeah. Okay. You're giving me some great ideas for ways to help spread good energy in the world. That's what it's all about. That's really why we're here. I know. Just raising the vibe.
I know. It's so fun to do it and then to really see how like it enhances your life. And I'm like, wow, doing simple things, like life is like, it's complex, but like it's less complex than I thought it was. You know what I mean? As I'm getting older, I'm realizing like the more I put out into the world, the more I help people, the more I do stuff without selfish intention, the more I get back later on without even like asking for it. So
right. because that's genuine. It's real. There's so much around us that's just fake. There's people all over the place that aren't what they seem to be. We're online all the time. And so much of what's online is just not real. It's just fake followers, people who are with filters, and just, we never know what's real until we actually, from our hearts, give something for no reason at all. And then you get to tap into something that is rare and beautiful. Oh, and I think you do that just by existing in the world. I could feel your energy when you were on the stage giving your speech, and your speech was really cool. It was called turning your passions into paychecks, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I love that. And I think that you have just done a beautiful job of showing how you can turn your passion into your paychecks. And now you have an online and in-person training program.
So my business is all online. However, I do
all
go
online.
to competitions in person to coach at the actual competition.
Yeah. Oh,
Anything local, within 3 hours of me, I'll drive to. I have national lifters who I always fly to competitions. One thing I'm thankful for, as someone who's a high-level competitor, I'm typically also competing. So I love the combination of I compete and then I get to coach my athletes at the same time. It's really cool. So
you still compete?
Absolutely.
Oh,
girl, yes, 10 years in.
Oh my God, so cool. What's like the top age for a power lifter?
There isn't one. This is why I love powerlifting. There's no age limit or weight limit. So I watched somebody in Masters 4 this weekend compete. Do you understand? That means they were in their they're in their 80s. They're in their 80s.
A woman?
It was a man actually at this meet, but there was a referee that is 85 at the meet who competed a couple months ago.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Powerlifting for everyone, every size, every age is really why I love it. There's weight classes, like it starts as low as 80 pounds or less, and then it goes up to literally 220 plus. It doesn't matter.
That's the weight of the person. Okay. Not the weight of the weight. Okay.
Yes.
So you could be an 80-pound power lifter.
Yeah. Now
I could be a 105-pound power lifter if I want.
There was a big battle a couple of weeks ago for nationals for that weight class.
Wow.
Yeah. Now let's be for real. That's a small class, like not just physically small, but it's like not a lot of people in the class. But it's crazy. You'll see this petite, mostly woman. You'll see this petite woman put up the most ridiculous weight. There's a 47 kilo, which means 105-pound girl who just deadlifted 442 pounds 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
Yeah. Now she is the best. She's the best in the world at deadlifting. But
wow.
There we go.
But it just goes to show you what you can do, what you're capable of when you believe in yourself. That is so cool. So cool. So the last question that I ask everyone is, what are your biggest lessons and blessings of life? So if you have one or more lesson or blessing or both from your life, what would you say those are?
Yeah, I think it wraps up everything we talked about. The more you give, expecting nothing in return, the more beautiful your life will be. And it's not just literally, yes, it will probably turn into income at some point, but the more happiness you'll have and joy, you'll get more relationships that are genuine. You'll have a better spiritual life because you'll literally feel more joy. And for me as a Christian, I'm like, I thank God for the opportunity to be able to talk to people. Yeah, the more you give, the more you actually will get. And you don't have to do things out of lack. You don't have to do things out of desperation. Like even before I was financially stable, when I moved out and I was like, lose a client, I'm about to be homeless, I still tried to not give the energy of I'm in desperate need of this person. I was just like, no, seriously, how can I help you? When I went to those competitions for free all day, I was still like, how can I help you? And it will always turn around and help you out. Yeah,
that's so beautiful. So how can people find you online if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram. I'm Solana, SOLANA _lifts, LIFTS. I have a website for all my coaching. It's strengthsolutionsinc.com. Those are my two main things. My podcast called The Power in Lifting. So it's all about powerlifting. I highlight the women's side of the sport. So I've done interviews with over 100 women, from world-class champions to coaches to just everyday powerlifters to just talking to my peers about coaching habits and everything like that. So I love my podcast. And yeah, that's mostly it right there.
That's it. You have to get the 85-year-old referee / lifter on your show. That would be a cool thing to do.
I want to get Cassie
someone
on.
who's like who's someone who's a bit older who is really like pulling it out. I love that.
I'll DM Kathy. She loves me.
Thank you, Solana. I love talking with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I am so grateful to you. And you just gave us so many beautiful things to think about and so much amazing knowledge. And just keep on lifting the weight and doing your thing. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Missy. I appreciate it. I love being.
Hey, everybody still listening. Will you go give a 5-star review to this podcast? Mitzi puts in so much effort and so much love into this. She's brilliant. She deserves it. So I am going to go right now. By the way, by the time you hear this and you go give your 5-star review, you should be able to go find my 5-star review of this podcast. But I just want to thank you for what you're doing.